Well, in Ankara is Eser Ozdil, a non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council. Real pleasure to have you on, Eser. Does this come as a surprise to you? Because I think it's been in the making for quite a long time.
It's not a surprise for me, because if you look at the U.S. nuclear diplomacy approach for the last couple of years, basically, there are two main targets. The first, American government is trying to widespread the U.S. nuclear technology, not only in Gulf region, but also in the Southeastern European region as well. If you look at the past 2-3 years trajectory, you have seen that American companies signed so many agreements to develop SMRs and other nuclear technologies around the world. But for the Gulf region, I think the main target of the U.S. decision makers are to limit the influence of the Russia and China, because for decades, basically, United States has lost the competition in developing nuclear commercial ties with all other countries in the region. So I think it's mainly targeting, limiting influence of the Russian and Chinese companies in Gulf region, as well as creating, as you said, that tens of billions of dollars of new industry for the American companies.
So is it geopolitics and politics driving it more than money? Because certainly the Americans are going to benefit financially hugely from this, aren't they?
I would say yes, but I think it's more geostrategic approach from my point of view. Because when we say geostrategy, we all not only talk about the geopolitics, but also we include economic perspective as well. So America is trying to limit the influence of Russia and China, but in the meantime trying to create a new huge industry for the American companies.
And of course, we don't know all the details, Eser, but there will be concerns, Israel, American lawmakers as well. They're further down the road. Who knows when? It might allow Saudi Arabia to build nuclear weapons.
I think the critical statement here is that, considering the Hormuz Strait crisis as well, the Saudi decision makers has explicitly said that if Iran will seek to develop nuclear weapons in the future, they will certainly consider it. So that's why question marks are rising in line with this agreement. However, there is no clear roadmap for enrichment process, how the centrifuge will be reviewed, how the enrichment procedures will be audited or followed by the international bodies. So still we don't know, but of course, when the enrichment is part of the agreement, the other regional countries will closely follow whether this will turn to develop a nuclear weapon or not.
You remember a few years ago when Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia and he was holding up posters while sitting next to Mohammed bin Salman, and it said how many billions of arms sales the Americans were making to Saudi Arabia. The fact that it's the Trump administration signing this deal, Eser, does that mean that anyone who follows Trump would have to also stick to the agreement? Is that part of the process? Do we know? Can it be changed in the future if there's a different administration in the US?
I think the approach of the Congress is going to be very important, because this agreement has been signed, yes, but still Congress approval is pending. From my point of view, the nuclear diplomacy perspective of the United States is irrelevant from the presidents, because it was also part of the Biden administration general approach. So it is very early to assess whether this approach will be followed after any other administration than Trump, but most likely, yes, it's going to be followed by upcoming US administrations as well.
And then in terms of the longer-term partnership between the Saudis and the Americans, does this solidify it? Does it almost make Saudi Arabia more beholden to Washington?
Short answer, yes. However, again, if we look at the past 60-70 years of US-Saudi Arabia political relations, we see that there are two important aspects. The first is economy. The second one is security. Generally, American companies are investing a lot, and Saudi companies cooperating a lot with the US counterparties. And in return, United States provides security architecture to Saudi Arabia. and I consider this agreement as part of this general approach.
Eser Ozdil, thank you so much for the analysis. Really appreciate it.